live, all the way live. And there we are. Hello, lovely, beautiful Anna.
Hi, beautiful Cass. I'll say the same.
what a what a pleasure. I love doing these Facebook lives because it's like gives me a chance to be with beautiful people and to share their brilliance and beauty with the world, and
Uh,
just the way you are. Everyone, hello. This is the lovely Anaa. She's currently living in Saudi Arabia, and she's in jihad, and she travels the world and is really, for me, the expression of possibilities and joy that is so part of the Saudi Arabia and their Arabian culture and the world and planet. And so inviting people to go from one point of view to many points of view so they can really enjoy their cultural riches. Hello, Anna.
Hi, Cass, and thank you for the beautiful introduction. And personally, it's like I'm honored to be with you here in that live, and thank you for asking me here. It's just an honor. And hi everyone. And my name is, as Cass said, it's like Anaa Albualfaraj. I live in Saudi Arabia. And tell me, how are you today? And it's like where we can talk about. And I love to say something. It's like people sometimes in the West, they think it's like people in the East or like Saudi or these Gulf countries are different or not the same, or it's like because no one talk about us, or it's like the media put us in like in a very dark side. But it's just like we're here, we're the same, we're people.
Well, we all have our unique brand of magic. You know that with the 7 steps. I talk about show me the magic. And the thing is, what I love is to show people, invite people to explore the world through the unique love in the hearts of people around the world, And you and I were talking about how, perhaps when you grew up, you had this point of view, about guardianship, about, in your life, and then you sort of expanded it to someone who's wanting to create and invite people to peaceful living. Just tell us a bit about your journey, what that's been like for you.
um, I live in Saudi Arabia, and it's like I studied abroad a while. I went to the States. But it's like most of my time, I wanted to fight my reality, not to play with it. Here in Saudi, we had strict culture. Strict culture. It's like whereas the man guardianship is like is always responsible for a woman, or not have like not giving a woman their opportunity, full opportunity, or a place in their life. So like there always is like the last word. It's gonna be is like out of a man. So it's like as I lived, it's like we had women there banning from driving or traveling without a Garnier mailship, or it's like without their approval. And that, thanks God, is like it's just changed 2 years ago, and we started to
Really?
drive and travel. Yeah, and they traveling just a year ago. But since I was young, even it's like them, like my brothers or my father, they were like gentlemen, but I was fighting the idea. I couldn't live in peace with it. Because I was like, even it's like I have the pleasure to travel or it's like to see the world. It's like, but it's like the girls of my gender, like they can't do that. They don't have that opportunity. It's like I'm blessed to have this family, but it's like I'm not gonna stop here. It's like I traveled abroad and I studied on the States. I studied gender law. Just
Gender law. And where were you
gender
in the
law.
States? Where were you?
Sorry, I was in
Where in the
DC.
States? In
DC.
DC. Wow.
DC. I went to Washington College of Law.
Uh-huh.
And what is funny, why did I chose that school?
You're
I
right.
got accepted in Georgetown and Washington College of Law. So I went to the history of the two schools. So it's like I found the first graduates in law degree in the United States was in Washington College of Law, American University. So
How
I
does
was
it
like,
get any
oh,
better?
how does it get any better than this? I'm just gonna follow these girls. I'm gonna change my country. It's like,
Yeah. And are you working with law now there?
um, after I studied that, I worked for a while for the United Nations, New York, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna go back to my country. And though we don't have human rights sector there, I'm just gonna work in university so to empower girls to know their rights.
Right. And so, I mean, it's so funny how we say things like this. Yes, I went to Washington and I studied law and I went to Georgetown and then I worked at the United Nations in New York. I mean, you get that that's like, not all of us have done that. Worked at the United Nations. And then I thought maybe, yeah, what were you doing at the United Nations, Zelling?
Okay. So there is a sector empowering women around the world to know their rights. So I was
Wow.
working with them, yes, to educate women, especially women
Yeah. And you know,
around the world. So like I was just, and it was an internship, not working, but it's like
yeah,
it was
no,
part of
it's
the
working. Yeah, but you know, it's so interesting because I mean, this I love mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. Like you having being empowered and knowing what is possible for you in your life. Because if we're just buying, you know, all the reality that we're living in, we may not see beyond that. You know, so and sharing with the world some of the riches. We've been talking about wealth and the wealth of knowledge, the wealth opening up your spectrum. You know, is really a gift that you bring to the world. I'm doing this series, and you'll be coming on next month called Spectrum Mind, right? With different every day in July, different topics, and what the idea of that is also really to open up the beauty that we can see all around the world. I don't know. I haven't seen every person in all the women in Saudi Arabia, but all the ones I know, even I've been in Kuwait, are freaking gorgeous. There's a beauty. There's an inner beauty that actually shines out, right? Also in Bahrain, I wrote an article about that. And so, is that what you're inviting women to recognize that it's not just about the morning I wake up before I put on my makeup. Yeah, it's not just about the physical outside beauty. It's about really recognizing your riches. What kind of advice or awareness do you share with people about that?
For, first of all, it's like in my journey, I shifted things that I want to be, or like the place I want to empower women to be. At the beginning, I was the fighter, and it's like a one who had, I know that I was blessed to have things, so I wanted to give it back. But my method was in fighting, and I didn't have any success on that, though I didn't find the inner peace with it. So it's like after doing that for a while, I wanted to be an example for every woman in my country. You're not the object of life. You are the active one in that. Because whenever
Right.
I always say, whenever you see like if there's a sentence and you find yourself an object on it, you're never gonna be the change.
Say
It's
more.
like,
Say more. What does that mean? What does that mean? Say
you
more.
know, it's like where's like you ate an apple. So the apple doesn't do anything to it. So just the object in a sentence.
Yeah.
You ate the apple. You can be instead of an apple, you can be the you.
Right.
So in
Right.
all of the situation and all of the story, there is the object, and here's like the subject of it, who's the one who changed everything.
Right. It's
So
like
when
you have an experience, and there is the experience, but you are part of the experience and how you see it and how you live it, and recognizing that it wouldn't be that experience if there weren't the you. Right.
exactly, and it's like just like you shift your perspective and you see what you can play with. Because we can all be the victims of our lives, our society, our whatever, or we can find the society, but there's no much success there. Being whomever that you are, choosing whatever you want, love it. And people is like, you don't need to tell anyone that they need to change, but if they're gonna come and see, it's like you're gonna inspire them. I always tell even my students, you always gonna inspire them with just you, because you never been the object in your life. Even it's like if you're, because it's like in my career, I first it's like I wanted to teach in villages here in Saudi. I didn't want to go to the big city, because it's like in my perspective, those women in villages, no one wanted to go there to teach them. So it's like they don't know anything about their rights, or it's like about their presence in life. So I went there for 2 years, and till this day, whomever I crossed, it's like they said I changed a lot of their life, but it's like I wasn't satisfied, honestly, because I just wanted like to them to listen. I was like pushing them for things, and they didn't want whatever I said. So I said, okay, let's go back to the city.
Yeah. It's also about an approach, because we're trying to often invite people, to a bigger and higher space, but acknowledging where they are, right? And connecting with them from where they are, and being willing to look at where they are from different perspectives. That opens up a bit of a space, right? And then invite them to see it, the whole thing, from perhaps a different perspective, like 100 feet or kilometers in the air, right? Or and then a bit more and a bit more. But it is like accompanying them on the journey, isn't it?
Exactly. So like I shift, like that was the place. It's like, okay, I need to find myself in somehow, because I love the coast, but it's like it's not from inside. So like the peace wasn't within. And that time when I found access consciousness and I moved here, and I started to start the journey of myself, and I found out is like it's good with the things that I did, but it's like if the journey doesn't start from inside, it won't
Exactly.
have an impact outside.
Exactly. It's just words, and it's trying to give people stuff instead of share with people, right? What
Exactly.
you have become aware of. And that's what's
Exactly.
so great, when I love to talk with people who actually have lives, you know what I mean? And have experiences and have gone through transition, because sharing your story with people and your transition makes them recognize, hey, look at where she is now. I guess I'm not wrong. What would it take? And then it's a question. What would it take for me also to even have a piece of that? You know what I mean? Growing up in a small town, or growing up in a country that's closed or seemingly isolated. What would it take for me to travel? What would it take for me to experience different things, and different ways of looking at things? You
Yeah.
know,
And when it's like, and every like, and I like, I can call a moment when I started to honor my society,
exactly.
and honoring that, not fighting that, it creates a lot for me and everyone else around it. Because the owner perspective is like some people when
And
they,
yeah. Go ahead.
no, just go. I want to talk talking if you let me. So like go.
Perspective. No, I was just checking the group. There was somebody who wanted to come. No, the only perspective. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're cutting out.
Okay, cool.
But
You know, okay, yeah. If it's me or you, it's probably the topic what we're getting ready to touch upon. There's no coincidences, right?
exactly.
So what I wanted to ask you, especially with our title, is a lot of times, when we get a new perspective, then we go radically to the other side, like, and we're fighting. You know what I mean? We're like, no, I've got rights, and I deserve this, and now I'm, um, and finding that middle ground which is a peaceful space for you, where you actually are able to be not in the positive or the negative, not in that polarized, right, like you say in Access, but actually to have a world vision on it.
Exactly. And you look
Yeah.
at the things, it's like there's things like I'm grateful for it now. I never looked at it because I was like just on the negative side of it. It's like we don't have rights here. So I never looked at it like how my culture is rich. I always compared myself to someone is like in the Western countries and the thing that comes with their nationality. I didn't have it. But it's like it's I was blind to see how my culture is rich, how my culture has generosity of spirit in every way. So because I was going the negative of it, I never reached that place of gratitude to it. And I never touched those people who were in need to these things because I wasn't going to their energy and I was refusing everything that came with it.
And what helped you with that transition, honey?
Honestly, it's like I was practicing the 5 elements of intimacy every day with me and everything. And the gratitude was hard for me because I was buying the drama, not just my drama. I was buying like every woman drama in my country.
Right. For
And
those who don't know, the 5 elements of intimacy that she's referring to are.
honor, respect, vulnerability. I don't know how to pronounce it very well. Vulnerability, trust, and gratitude.
Yes, and
Allow,
allowance. Yeah.
allow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Absolutely. And actually you told me that. And once you have that for yourself, once you're honoring you, trusting you, vulnerable with you, grateful for you, right? And an allowance of you, you're able to be that for other people. Yeah. Great.
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's in this book, Sex is Not a Four-Letter Word, but Relationship oftentimes is, by Gary Douglas and Dane Here, for anyone who'd like to look at that some more. And we've got that in different languages coming up too. So, the some of the tell us about the richness of what you see now, about the richness of the culture, the Saudi culture, the Arabic culture, the is there because you are absolutely right. And I did these series of interviews last week called Extraordinary Encounters, which this is as well, an extraordinary encounter. And does your Black life matter? And with people from around the world. And I was on, someone from New Zealand, someone from Africa, someone from the United States, two from the United States, someone from Brazil. I was one of the interviewees, right, with a friend of mine from India who was interviewing me, and Kayla, a friend from China, and she was also talking about how in the U.S. the media, what you get from about China, is very different than what actually is China, and I know this very well because I travel the world a lot, and I learn so much. It's the best education for me that anyone can have, traveling the world, actually connecting with the people and the land and the food and the taste and the colors and the smells and the, all of that, and how much that can enrich you and make you wealthy, So as you did that, starting in Saudi and then traveling the world and coming back, what is it that you recognize that maybe you weren't willing to see before? Oh, I love that you this pic this don't move, don't move. The lights behind you, it looks like a crown. Don't move. I'm gonna take the picture. That's so cool. It looks like you have a crown on. I love it. Queen. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Love that. Yeah.
That's my crown.
Yeah.
Like the riches like started with everything. Like here it's like my in my country. They treat us like a valuable product, honestly, a woman or a man. So like we have free education everywhere. It's like even it's like our my studying abroad it was like 100% funded by the government. It's not just for me, it's for everyone. We didn't have taxes till recently, and we don't have income taxes yet. That's what it's like with the bigger perspective. Like the smaller perspective, here's like the family, like the old families. Like everyone is responsible for the other. It's like we live in a bigger community. So like if we cooked a good food, we send it to my aunts, and it's like everyone who loves that. Like from the smallest details, we honor our guests. We love them. We love giving. Even in celebration, we always gives money, and it's like we always, it's like my aunt, she like my mom, she can, like my aunt treats me like one of her daughters. So coming from the smallest family, it's like we have this, and it's like
Yeah.
how we treat our guests, how we be with each other. And it's like if I needed something, there's a million of my family, they're gonna stand next to me. It's not just mine, it's just ours.
And can I just ask, how does the government take care of the people if not from the taxes? How do they
Oil.
do that economically? Huh?
I love oil. I love to call
Oil.
it this. Here is the government, just like parentship. It's like they take care of us, and it's like as if your parents. You can't speak a lot. You go to Twitter to raise issues, but it's like there's no freedom of speech 100%. Like parentship. At the same time, they take care of us in every aspect. Like now with the coronavirus, it's like what the country did is amazing, honestly. It's like whoever under this land, they're gonna be treated 100% free, and whomever like who Saudis abroad, they took them in hotels to like quarantine them from other people, and they take care of them till it's like they organize the trips back to the country.
Right. Right. Italy actually did that too. And so I'm wondering, also there's a period I understood that some people were saying that a lot of people were actually committing suicide. Is that true in Saudi?
Like 2 years
During this
ago,
period, during this Corona period or post-Corona period.
not just like in the national news
Okay.
that I heard of, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. And also, the richness. I know that it's just been a period of the fasting, right? And how is that for you? Because a lot of people there are observing things, as some people are not observing things, but they're all connected, right? And like you said, nurturing one another and assisting one another. And I feel it's whenever I meet anyone, there's this from Saudi Arabia, there's this joy and caring. Maybe it's just for me,
No,
but
it's like it's like one of Access facilitator. Her name is Julia. You know Julia. It's like
yeah, she was
came
there
to
with you when
Saudi,
the corona started. Yeah.
yes, with coronavirus, and it's like the lockdown happened. So like she came to my house, and my family, they were happy to have her. It's like we have joy of giving. My mom is like it's like she's happy to have this guest. And my brothers and my family, they're always just like talking to her about the culture, and it's like no one knows about it. It's just in Aladdin. It's like in Aladdin we're just thieves, or it's like we're tourists. But it's like in actuality we're not. We're just people.
Yeah, yeah. But the richness of the culture is also something that people aren't always familiar with. You know what I mean? So that's what I would love to share with people some of the gifts that we can be once we open up to a different perspective and a different possibility. You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
and with
And
women in particular.
a funny story when Dr. Anthony Mattis was here, there, I took him to the old town, and I didn't recognize that. He told me when we came back, because I live in this culture. So like everyone who saw him, he has like fair skin. They know that he's not from here. When we were walking, everyone looks at him and they nodded at him. It's like welcome and welcome. And it's like I was like, okay, that looks fun. And that's I didn't expect that from my culture, but it's like they had my back there of
Yeah.
having someone. So whatever the media writes about, how it's like the terrorist, whomever, is just percentage of whatever it is, but it's not the real thing. The real thing is like they're just open to whomever it is. They love people. We love people. We love people to know more about us.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for women who have not had so much experience in travel and stuff like you have had, what kind of advice could you give to them in terms of yeah, their journey? It may be different, but it's still a journey, you know, that we're all on this, you know?
Um, Everyone have their power and their greatness. So I was like a person who fought it a lot, a weight. I was like fat. It's not wrongness, but it's like I didn't like it. But it's like I knew that I can change it. I had like problems with relationship, with family, with career, whatever. But it's like whoever listening to that, you can change the tracks of everything. Your past doesn't write the future, and the future you don't write your future by fighting it or fighting your past. Allowing your past, be grateful for the past, and know your power, and just ask for more and be willing to be the change.
Yeah, because yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I love it. It's almost like these are all phrases I want to like share with people. They're so amazing. Yeah, go ahead.
So you can't buy the story of your life and you think it's like you're just the victim of that. Everyone loves to be a victim, but does it help them to be the victim? It's just a choice. But it's like everyone have their ability and capacity to change the future for them.
I love this. You cannot, yeah, create your future by resisting your past. You know, everything has been a gift to us, and if you're willing to recognize the gifts, even in difficult situations, some people are, you know, in relationships that are not apparently honoring of them. You know,
Exactly.
what advice do you have for people who might be in a you know, physically abusive relationships, or in mentally abusive relationships, emotionally non honoring relationships? How can they look at that from a different perspective and create a change?
First, don't love your situation and don't hate it too. Don't love it by it's like going around and saying this situation and it won't change, because a part of us love that situation by going around and saying that. Hating it is resisting it. A question changed my life. I was in a yoga. I thought like yoga is gonna take me to my peace. It took me somewhere, and I asked universe, is there is a light for me? I want it to come in fruition now. I was determined on that because it's like I had everything that I was supposed to be happy, but I never been that happy. And then I found access consciousness through internet. It's not just access, but the question I asked, and I went online to change it. So whatever situation you are, don't align with it. That is, it's your life and your past is going to write the future of it. Just be brave to ask a question. How can I change all of that? And I can assure you that you're not going to live by your past. You're going to write the future for there. And you might be a person who inspires all of us. Because I love it's like Oprah Winfrey's story. It's like with all of her abuse, she didn't choose to live the victim of it. She became the greatest person in TV. and she empowered lots of women from all over the world. So Oprah is like a good example. Is raping is not the history of it. It's not you. It's just what do you want to choose of it. And it's not Oprah, she's not foreign for all of us. Now when we look at her on TV, yes, we can see it's like this, it's not me. But it's no, she was the person under the abuse one day.
Yeah.
Question.
I love Oprah. I always ask, what would it take for me to be the European-based Oprah?
You're my Oprah.
Yes. Yeah. That's so awesome. Yeah. So ask questions, which I love too, and be willing to and look up. I always say look up, right? Because a lot of times we're asking questions or we're looking down, and we're yeah, exactly. Look up because God, Allah, Buddha, the universe, all are bringing you the magic and the miracles. But if you're not looking up, if you're not looking around, you can't actually see them. And if
And
you can't actually see them,
if you're not choosing
you
the
can't
change, yes.
perceive them and receive them. Yeah, and choosing the change, and that's sometimes scary for people too. They might be. It's like, should I take this risk? Should I take this risk? What if I leave, this country or this job or this relationship or this, uh, place, this city? Um, what will happen?
Yeah. And sometimes we mixed up. It's like the ease and the in life and our choices with being uncomfortable. So like, we love to be in our comfortable space.
Yeah, yeah,
Something uncomfortable or new, no, we're not used to it. We're just gonna close the door.
yeah. There's an expression in Italian: "Don't give up the road you know for the road you don't know." Just so
Mhm.
funny, and I'm like, oh no, that's not an expression for me. But also, risk is not just about what you could lose; it's about what you could gain. you know so and are you willing to gain more of you, yeah, and share that with the world?
And it's
Awesome,
not always
awesome.
blossomy and flowery and it's pink and purple. Sometimes it rains too. It rains and it has like snowstorm or whatever, but it doesn't say it's the winter always like the spring always comes for after winter.
Yes, and also, what if you learned how to walk in rhythm with the rain? Right.
Right?
Yeah, and be able to walk between the raindrops but not stop life from occurring, right? However, be able to have ease, joy, and glory with whatever shows up, right, in your life, and then make your choices. Being connected really with your own rhythm and stuff is really important. And how lucky are they to have you in Saudi? And how do people find you if they're looking for you, my love? Because I know you do classes, I know you do workshops, all kinds of things. You do access classes, you do other types of classes and counseling and stuff. So where can people find you?
Where can people find me?
Yeah,
What? Okay. I have like my Facebook is like I'm gonna post it to you, and my Instagram is Joy by Anna.
Joy by Anna. That's Anaa. Anna.
Yeah, Anna.
That's so awesome. And will you be traveling anytime soon?
Yes, it's like I'm planning to come to Italy soon, but what else is possible there?
Benvenuta. We'll be waiting for you here. I'd love to receive you here, my darling.
Hopefully in August, but we don't know. I'm like, I know what else is possible there.
What
You
else?
might,
Yeah.
yes.
Inshallah that you come.
Inshallah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, my darling. Shukran.
Look out for. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for this and for you and everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Mwah.
Mwah.
Ciao.
Ciao.